Hello and welcome. I'm Kelly Mitchell with Pink Lemonade Company, and I'm so glad you're joining me. I want to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart, and I know a lot of people struggle with this, so let's get into it. So today we're going to talk about actually doing what you love in life. Not doing what you love as a hobby, but actually making money from something that you love to do. It kind of sounds far out there. I think, when we're in school and we're growing up, we're kind of implanted with the idea that we need to be practical and find a way, to support our family, to support ourselves. And so somewhere, we may have this dream when we're little, but those kind of get tossed aside with the toys. And then we're taught to, go to school, go to college, get a practical job, that sort of thing. And I bought into this myth for a long time because when I was young, when I was in high school deciding what I was going to go to college for, it was a lot of pressure, because there's so many choices, and so it's really hard to narrow down. And I remember thinking like, oh gosh, I would love to do something like that, really where I was able to tap into my creativity. Like writing, being an author, or art or something like that. And I just remember somebody telling me like, well, you could do that on the side, but that couldn't be your real job, and that just like burned into my soul because I was like, okay, well, I can't do that, so I'll go do this too. I'll go into the medical field instead. And so I always did stuff, stayed in the medical field, that sort of thing. And doing a job creatively or getting paid to be creative was something that just I didn't think was possible. Of course, now I know otherwise because I've, intentionally set my life up so I can profit from my creativity, or so I can, be creative and earn my money and pay my bills that way. And I think a lot of times it probably still sounds far-fetched. Like I know so many people that will do these hobbies or these, crafting activities, and they want so badly to turn this into a real business, but they still have those voices in the back of their head, or those voices, from their family saying, you can't do this, you need to stay, practical and that sort of thing. So my question is, seriously, why not you? I was thinking the other day of, I was doing some journaling and that sort of thing. And I'm like, why can't I make this money? Or why can't I do this thing? And I was like, I can. Like, there's literally the only thing that is stopping me is me from doing, creating whatever I want to create, making my reality look however I want to look. So think about that. I mean, to me, I feel like the American dream has completely been revitalized. I don't care what the economy looks like. I don't care what the politics are saying. I don't care what, there's this, lower class, middle class, upper class, whatever division there is. I was thinking about this, and this really blew me away because online business is blowing all of that out of proportion. Like, it just doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's almost like we're in this new frontier where, immigrants came over to America, and it was kind of up to them to create their own realities, to create their new atmosphere, to create their new environment. And with the birth of online business, which the statistics are staggering. They're crazy. Like, my mom told me the statistics. She was reading a book like years ago, like in, I can't remember the year now, but in something 2020 or whatever it was, 50% of businesses in America are going to be self-employment, or like you create your own business. And the trends are, showing that clearly. And so all these people are creating these businesses. And anytime you scroll on Facebook or you scroll on Instagram or Pinterest or wherever you are online, you see all these people like, look, I'm doing this, or they're selling this. And I get, there's some people on there saying they make six figures, and they probably don't. But the fact is, a lot of us are. So if we can do it, if I can do it, if, all these people on Facebook can do it, why can't you do it? Like, it's really something that could be very possible if that's something that you want for yourself. So it is. I just love the fact that, we can go online and start pretty much from scratch, and we don't have to invest thousands of dollars into a storefront or whatever, like we would have to do, like even just back in the 80s. And we have tools at our disposal that like our grandmothers didn't have. There's a whole new field of creation and creativity out there, and we can pretty much claim it as our own and make it into whatever we want to make it. It's just a matter of taking those steps, figuring out what you want, for one, and two, just believing in yourself and going for it. So about 3 years ago, I'll tell y'all this little story. I was laying in bed one night and I was freaking out because I had no idea I was going to pay the bills, and I was in the middle, or I was right after my ex-husband and I had split up, and he kind of took off, and I was there like, I've got to figure this out. I have 3 little babies that are depending on me, to feed them, and we've got to pay bills. And all of a sudden, bills that he paid previously, once we split, he was very happy to hand those over to me and let me figure out what the heck I was going to do with them. And so I, of course, I had a choice. I could either freeze and stay where I was and, not move forward and just stay in this awful place. Or I had been reading a lot of, I guess kind of the same stuff I'm talking about here is like, you can create your reality, and you don't have to stay stuck, and you don't have to stay in this position just because you've told yourself all your life this is all you deserve, or people around you have told you this is what you're going to be. You got to get that practical thing. Like, I already had this little design business. It wasn't making any money. One, because I didn't put that much into it because I had someone paying the bills, and that, and I was sort of just in the mother zone right then and just taking care of my kids, and the business was like a side, note. And so I remember laying there and I was just praying to God because I was scared to death. And I was like, you know what? I just kept seeing Mark 11:24, which is, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it'll be yours. So I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to ask for this stuff, and I'm going to wholly believe that you're going to allow me to do this, or that you're going to help me to do it. And I'm just going to believe that it's going to happen. And it seems so far off because it's almost like I was betting my children's, our lives and our future and our house and the car and everything on just this almost whim of like, okay, I'm just going to believe that this is all going to happen. And obviously it was scary, but I was at the point where I was at such a low level of, just this low level and so much desperation that I was like, if I don't believe in this, if I'm not going to go all in this, then I'm going to have to, pack it up and figure out some things and close up Pink Lemonade Company and do something differently. I'm going to have to go back to get that practical job. And so I wasn't willing to do that because I really loved staying home with my children, but I knew something needed to change to go from, running an online business and being, it was, it was okay successful, but it wasn't okay where I could just pay all the bills by myself successful. And I wanted it to honestly be more than that. I didn't want to struggle every month. I didn't want to struggle and be like, okay, well, we can eat, but we can't go to the movies. Like, I wasn't ready to just live that kind of life. I wasn't going to have it. And so I just remember sitting there praying to God, like, you know what? I want to go all in. I want to find a way to make PLC as successful as possible. I want my children and I to have what we need. I want us to have more than that, to go into this state of overflow where we have more than that. I knew at that time we needed to get out of the house that we lived in. There were just so many things. And it almost sounded like, I'm sure somebody, if they would have heard my prayer, they'd be like, wow, you're being a little bit greedy. But I remember thinking, like, you know what? No. God created the Garden of Eden for us. And even though we're separated, in a sense, from Him, from that, He still wants us to have that Garden of Eden. So I should still be able to have a life that I love, to be able to provide for my children, to be able to provide more than just the basics for them. And so I got very serious and intentional about that and made that my focus every day. And then, of course, I was seeing more and more people pop online of like, they had this and like, I'm doing this, and, I'd see people selling stuff, and you could tell it wasn't just this scammy little, hey, you can make $2,000, a day selling this or whatever. Like, you can tell some people are honest to God making that. And I get that now. Like, there are tons of people making money all over the internet or online. So why not you, right? And it was like, why not me? So after that little prayer and just that kind of come to Jesus moment where I'm like, okay, this has got to either, I need it to sink and just go, PLC needs to go away, or I need to get my big girl panties on and really make this more than I've ever dreamed that it was possible. I need it to make actual good money. not just, oh, thank goodness we paid the water bill this month. Here's hoping it'll work out next week or, next month. I'm done with that. I couldn't do that anymore. So I got really intentional on what I wanted. And I started, the whole journal thing of like, if I could have anything in the world or anything, in my daily life, what does that look like? And I journaled the heck out of that. And I started seeking out other people that could help me. And I started, I didn't have the money to go spend on one-on-one coaches or that sort of thing at that point. But I started finding courses that, if they had payment plans, gosh darn it, we're going to have to finance the future because I need to learn this stuff. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I was like, you know what? I've got so much soul and so much passion in this that I'm going to make it work. It's, sink or swim. Let's get this done. So maybe you're there, maybe you're not, whatever. I just was thinking about like my Facebook group this weekend, and I was like, I come across a lot of people that are frustrated, and understandably so, that they're frustrated. Like they don't know how to do this, they don't know how to get forward, they're stuck in their 9-to-5 and they want to do, something else, either another full-time gig, or actually have, something on the side. So one, they can get their creativity out, and two, they have some extra money, whatever the case is. I want to tell you that if you have that desire within your heart, if you just have that longing for something else, there's a reason that's there. And I really don't think you should ignore that. Like, I think you should act on that. So it really comes down to believing that it's possible. You can do what you want. Like, you really can do what you love. You can turn any idea that you have into a business, into a viable business. It's certainly possible with all the tools and everything that we have online today. So if you have that inside of you, like, listen to it, okay? I was talking to somebody last week, and she was like, well, I've got this idea. I don't know, like, of course she was kind of in that point where she was scared, like, well, I don't know if I really can move forward with this because I don't know if it'd ever make me any money, or, I don't know, it's here, but maybe this is just stupid to think about. Okay, well, let me just solve that for you right now. If you have like a burning passion, or even just a small little flame that you're curious about, explore that. Go further with that, because there is a reason that it's in your heart. Now, if it's in your heart and you do want to act on that, let me tell you already that you have what you need within you to create that into something bigger, into whatever that looks like, okay? Like, I'm serious. You can create your own reality, because I'm living proof of it, and I'm no different than anybody else. I just acted on it. I had a lot of faith, a lot of blind faith that was so scary sometimes, but I was like, no, I know I can do this. And it reminds me of that movie Joy. I get so excited every time I see that, no matter how many times I see it, because it was kind of like that. Like, she just, had this idea, and she was stuck in such a bad situation, taking care of everybody around her and not having near enough resources to do so. And it ended up, she made that. It was a mop. Like, I get that, because it was just a silly mop, something we use every day. But she turned it into this multi-million-dollar business because of her drive and her relentless passion. Like, she was not going to quit, even when she ended up, just all this stuff was thrown in her face, and she did not stop. She kept going. And so it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's not necessarily going to be hard either. Not hard and like, oh my gosh, I hate this so much. Like, I've put a ton of work into my business over the years, but I don't necessarily say that it was hard, because I enjoyed almost, probably 95% of it. Of course, there's some stuff I don't like to do, like paperwork and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the more you can grow, then you can outsource that kind of junk, so you're not having to deal with it. But anyway, I just don't want you to stay in a place of, frustration or feel like you're stuck, because you have that power within you to make that change. And so, like I say, you can make excuses or you can make progress, and you usually can't make both. I mean, like, you're always going to be fighting yourself, but we just have that that potential within us to change whatever we want to change. And so if you do have that, you know what? You can do it. Look on the internet. Like, everybody, people really, really are making money on there. It's not just some big scam. So anyway, I was just thinking about that, and I really just encourage you to act on that passion, and act from a place of that passion, because I know your fear could probably eat you alive if you let it. It will stop you. It's going to let you stay, stuck or even paralyzed. But if you just dive into that passion and look at others like, oh, this is working for them, so it can work for me. Like you truly can make money doing what you love, being just as you are. Like you don't have to be perfectly skinny. You don't have to have the perfect hair. You don't have to have, already millions of dollars in the bank. You don't have to be, there's just a room for every single one of us, just exactly as you are. So show up as you are and move from that place, because I guarantee you it's something that's very attainable. And just give yourself permission, even if nobody else gives it around you, give yourself permission to do that thing, because chances are if you really follow it, you could end up, stumbling into an amazing, beautiful life. And I'm living proof of that. So with that being said, I want to invite you to join me for Design Business in a Box. It's an awesome, massive course that's brand new. It includes Photoshop and Fabulous 2.0. So if you know anything about Photoshop and Fabulous, the first version, this one's even amped up even more. We're also going to go over some, just how to run your business online, how to run a design business online. We're going to look at choosing the right platform, as far as setting up your website. We're going to go over email marketing and sales funnels. We're going to talk about making the most of social media. I'm going to show you my tricks on Pinterest and how I drive that traffic from Pinterest to my website. We're going to talk about feel-good pricing and creating your policies and running business your way. And not only that, like showing up as you, but also doing it in a way that brings you money and creates success for you. And beyond that, we're going to talk about a mindset, because as you know, if you've known me for any length at all, I believe that mindset is just as important as marketing. And when you put the two together, it can create amazing, amazing things. So if you would like to join me for that, stay tuned, because the doors open soon. I will talk to you later. Bye.